Got it.
Be like a second or two here.
Does does the interface change? Like, do we start to see, or I guess,
No, for you, it's gonna be in the Zoom room. It's just exactly the same.
well,
But I got it up on my page so I can see the comments. Um, but anyways, um, I'm here with Ben Grubin, Ben Wyeth.
yeah,
We're here
Ben,
today.
yeah, Ben something,
Just Ben
just
something.
Ben, yeah.
And well, I actually start with how you and I met. I was just on Facebook and you had put out an ad for a little booklet, and it was just something like message you and like receive a free booklet or something. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm down. I just sent you a message, and then I don't know. I started joining some of your group calls and stuff, and it's just been fun getting to know you more.
Yeah. It's funny, I forgot that was the genesis of our meeting. I totally forgot that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Ben, why don't you just, we're just going to talk here kind of about Ben, his music career, his life coaching, stuff like that. So would you like to give us just a little short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Well, currently I work as a life coach and I'm in school to become a therapist in the future, but like my life practice coaching everything is grounded in like spirituality and those practices. Always behind the surface, behind the scenes. That's where it all comes from. But yeah, but my backstory was like I was in a band back in the day when I was like I don't know. Let's see. Now I'm 40, and when I was 27, I got signed to like a record label with my band, and it was like a full on like huge record deal. We like toured around the world, played on TV, and all that stuff for like it was like full on for like 5 years or something. And then even really longer. But so the career went like this, and then as the career was dipping, that's when the what do they say, like when the road gets rough sometimes, then you like have to turn and find like the spiritual juice to get you past stuff, because I was like you know um, kind of operating on like an ego plane a little bit, like trying to be cool, trying to be successful and stuff, which is cool, but then it ran out of juice. um,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I bet it was kind of like, well, you're going up and up, and then as you like, see it going down, and
Yeah.
you're like, what the hell's going
You're
on?
like clawing at the
Yeah.
road. It's like it's not like I didn't like it. I was not happy with it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of times, like yeah, you don't really find spirituality kind of till you have to. A lot of the time.
Yeah, totally right. It's like a need for help, and like it
Yeah,
comes and it's like, oh, thank fucking God.
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
That's how it was for me at least. So then I found I'm like, oh yes.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
Totally. Yeah.
Um but I like that, like I'd like to ask you, so you gave us a kind of short overview. So you
Yeah.
started in a band at 27. When
Yeah.
when did you first like kind of start getting interested in music, or like know that was a thing you were into? Was that something in your earlier years?
Yeah. It was weird. It was kind of like when I was about like 18, 19 in high school. Like something happened to me where I used to be like just sort of like had a lot of friends, kind of a normal guy in the scene of life and friends and sociability. And then all of a sudden I got like really just self-conscious, like sort of out of nowhere. Like it was really weird.
That
Yeah, it
sounds
was
just like me.
I think yeah, it was just like that. I don't even remember why. And all of a sudden like I just nothing made sense. Like I couldn't speak about like normal stuff like, "Oh, this girl's hot." Or whatever everyone was talking about. I just like was like, and I wasn't happy about it. I wasn't like, oh, I'm cool now. I was like, what the hell? Like, I just like some weird thing happened. So anyway, but at that time I
Just
started
like a massive degree of kind of self-consciousness out of
yeah, it just like
nowhere.
fell on me, and it was like I wasn't happy with it, and like my friends all noticed, like I just kind of drifted away in a way because I just couldn't hang anymore in the way of conventional hanging. It wasn't happening. And then I think at that time I sort of found music kind of as like really sort of as a crutch, you know. Like it was, I liked it and I loved it. I was like loved bands, but all of a sudden it was like, oh, like I feel weird, but now I can like produce music and like perform and like kind of, you know, like meet people anyway, even though I don't. It's like, you know, it's like almost a way to meet people. Like in school, we would play like the like frat parties and all these crazy parties that people would be going crazy when we played. But I would just be like, and then afterwards we like pack up the stuff and like leave.
Oh, and just head out, like,
Kinda, yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
I'm exaggerating. Like I wasn't strict, but like that was my internal vibe was more on the outskirts and the edge of
mm,
like, you know, more and yeah. So I was very focused on music and like making that work.
kind of like that's really interesting. I didn't know that about you. So
Yeah.
just keep on going with it. Like, how did that start evolving then after kind of high school there? Like, what was like some of the parties like, or like, what were you doing your own music and stuff while you're like
Yeah,
DJing
yeah.
stuff, like
It was just me and
performing, singing
yeah,
up there?
yeah. It was me and my friend who started the band that like later on went on to do a bunch of stuff. He was my roommate, and yeah, he played bass, and we played like beats. We'd put on like beats, and I would sing or play piano or guitar, and these like beats out of my iPod would be going. Do people have no one has iPods anymore. Do you know what an iPod is?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Okay.
I had an iPod Nano,
Yeah. Okay.
one of them little guys. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'd load up these like songs that we would play to beats, and like we like built it up over the like semesters and stuff. We got these like speakers, so we'd like go to the parties, beats, play, and people would just go crazy, you know. Like at the house parties, like there was a house party we played, like, oh, the floor almost broke, and like that wouldn't have been good because I don't know what had happened, but just like it was
Right.
just nuts. Yeah, it was really fun. So that, yeah,
What was like kind of like your internal state at that time too, like still feeling like self-conscious, and like
yeah,
what
like
was that like as you're kind of first starting doing these
as far as like
music?
consciousness goes, I was like, I don't know. It was a weird. Yeah, I was like pretty much. I had no sense of like psychology, self development, spirituality, nothing, zero. Just like blindly
Mhm.
groping through the world, like without any reference. You know, I was like vaguely artistic. Like I read poetry and like philosophy, kind of because it seemed interesting, but I wasn't like passionate about it. It kind of like I had fun, like messing with ideas, but I wasn't grounded in anything. I was sort of just like groping. But I did like performing. That was fun. The energy of that was just like awesome. Like
Mhm.
all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, it's just like the boundaries are all different, and you can like people can just like touch people, like just like go crazy, you know, just like
Yeah.
being like as a performer, you know, in that way. It's like was really cool. So it's like, yeah, it's like, and as a performer it had also like a very alpha thing, even though I was not, you know.
Yeah, or like look at me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know what else.
Yeah, so like so at this time you're in college. Were you in California?
Yeah, I was in California. Yeah,
Okay. And
very
so
lucky.
how did like your band start becoming a little more bigger or well known? What was that process like as you guys were becoming more well known and gaining steam?
Yeah, that was like a process after school because we had this like following at school, but then like, you know, when we played in LA it was different, and so like we kind of built it up. We went up and down like like basically just we like people from the record industry were this is a while ago, like before you could really put yourself out
Yeah,
and
so what time?
this is like 2004 and 5 maybe where
Okay.
we were in the city. Yeah, so like people would come and like we'd almost get record deals, and like we actually did get a record deal, and then we'd like do some recording, and then it would like fall apart, and then blah blah, blah. So we bounced around a lot. Like we left LA, we lived in like the Pacific Northwest, Spokane and Portland, while like record deals were kind of like coming and going. We weren't like really out there yet. And
Sure.
then yeah, and then when one summer we went on a tour, like with just like a weird tour that we put together. But while we were on tour, we were also in a veggie band, like um, which meant it didn't run on gas; it ran on like vegetable oil. Anyway, but like
A
so we were,
veggie van.
yeah, so we were touring, and whatever. It was like, I mean, what happened? Somebody like got our music in England and like put it on the radio station in England. And
Oh,
it's like something that happens to bands sometimes. At least it did, like because the radio stations in England they're all connected. So if like one of the main one plays you, it's just like wildfire. It goes around the country, and then so like all of a
oh.
sudden all the record labels that were like kind of interested wanted to sign us like really fast, like and we're like, you know, putting out the contracts and all that kind of stuff while we were on the tour. And then So that was, yeah, and that was exciting. At the time,
So
again, like, yeah, what were you gonna say?
how old were you at this time as it like it, it goes
27. I think I was like 27. So it took a while of like doing stuff. We
so
were
you're
just like
kind of
die hard. Like we just,
doing little smaller things and hopping around and then
yeah.
um what was that like then once you started your songs started getting played in England and
That was really exciting. Like the
everywhere?
really beginning part was fun, because it's like I don't know, it's too soon for any of the like self criticism to kind of get in. That was
Sure, yeah, I guess all the drama and what have you, right?
yeah, yeah. So that was like really exciting, and it was kind of like it was like a like when you see the dream out there for a second, it's like oh, it's really cool. Um, all of it I feel like is just a setup to get screwed later on and have to like find something else, but it was fun. I just mean like that's like the nature of life. I mean that's the nature of the life. Like it's everything is moving, everything is changing. We can't like create a paradise in out of like
Yeah, you can't like create something
without
static and like this is going to
exactly.
be the thing that I always
Yeah.
do or it's always going to be the same kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. So like if you're putting I mean like so that's not to be like nihilistic or what I mean like you can enjoy the hell out of anything, it doesn't matter. But if your whole sense of worth and happiness and stability is coming from these things,
Mm.
you're in for trouble at some point. But so anyway, but I was, at that point it was awesome. I was just like kind of I don't even know, sort of taking it in stride, but a little excited, but I don't even know if it was because I put in so much work or something. I was sort of just like, yeah, okay. Like or something. I don't know.
So at like 27 there, what was kind of your mental state at that point as compared to like, when you were more in college? Was it different? You said you were working a lot where you're like really grinding out music and
Yeah, I worked.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, I worked really hard on music and stuff, and in ways that were actually not super functional. Like looking back, I could have done better because I whatever. But yeah, I was working hard at it and stuff. But my mind state was still like just it was like I was nice guy, good to my friends and stuff ish, but also just like very ego driven. Like I wanted people to think I was cool. I was nervous about interacting with people, so just wanted to be like rock star. That was it.
Maybe kind of wanted to be like seen from afar, but not really up
Exactly.
close and personal with
Exactly.
people.
Exactly. Like give me lights, give me sunglasses, give me this, give me like I don't want I like because I would meet people after shows, people all talking to tons of people, like autographs, all that kind of stuff. And so my ego was just like, yeah, like give this to me because I can just be like cool. Like I was still nice, but is you know what I mean? We're all crazy, and
I
that's like
think we all feel. I mean, I think just about anyone in that position would feel those feelings to one degree or another of like maybe the inflated sense of
yeah.
self or
Yeah, and I just had no concept like now I just understand like it's not like that. Meaning like you don't no one's better than other people. You don't this
doesn't
that's
work
a
like
fake
that.
level. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't
Yeah.
work like that. Yeah.
So take me through now then like going through so England, they play your radio songs and stuff, and then do you start touring in Europe or what happens
Yeah.
next?
Well, next was like we got yeah, they like gave us money to record an album like and so like we used some of the songs that they were already playing and then we added to it and then we like released an album. And yeah, we toured like a lot in England and all over the States and in Europe and Japan and stuff. Like so first we like did some like opening for some of the other bands that were already big in England, playing festivals and stuff, and then built up and then like would play our own shows a little later. And that kind of thing. But yeah.
At
Yeah.
that point, did you feel like what did it feel like for you? Was it like living the dream life? Or what was it like on the inside? Because I mean, from the outside, that sounds like I guess kind of dream-like,
Yeah, yeah.
right? And but what was it actually like living it?
Yeah, I mean for me like I said it was like well it wasn't so much the dream life like once it started happening because like it was really busy. Like we played like 13 shows in a row, day off 13 like and I was singing like intense, so like I was sort of like
Mm,
always sort of like had to manage that and traveling a lot. And So that part was hard, and then there'd be really fun moments, like you play the end of a tour or something, and then you get to like kind of bask and feel really good. So there'd be good moments, but and there was stress. Like some shows would be good and some shows wouldn't be good, and there was like internal
Mm.
band stuff too, like and band issues around like music, around like how we're playing and stuff. So there was some like stress and tension.
Would
And
that come from like other band members or from like managers or?
there was stuff happening like kind of because like I mean it was like kind of like aesthetic, like artistic divides. Like I like basically like because I had written the songs, and me and my friend who started the band had a certain style, and then we kind of met up with these other guys who we loved as people. They were really cool, but they had a different way of playing, and they didn't even
Mm.
really record on the album. So there was just like we didn't know how to navigate these kinds of like interband communications of like honesty and like directness and like good communication, compassion and stuff. So it was like even though we were such good friends, when it came to like talking about the music, it was really hard to like do that, and that caused a lot of stress too, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, but there was also just some awesome stuff. You know, you're just like, what the hell is happening? This is awesome. You know, like meeting people, like meeting other bands that you like, and seeing all the people, bands you like, and like playing shows with bands you like, and stuff like that. Yeah, so there was good stuff. That was like satisfying too. You know.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And what was it kind of like then as it started maybe petering away a little bit
yeah,
or just going down the downhill slope, I suppose that at one point or another is going to come.
yeah, I mean, it got kind of bad because, like I said, like I didn't really realize, like I didn't really have a sense of myself. Like I didn't have a sense of what it was I was doing that was people liked or that was original. I was kind of in my own head, like comparing myself to a lot of other people and not realizing that
Mm.
stuff that was actually driving it was the really unique stuff that was just mine. Like people didn't do stuff like that, but I kind of like had this negative self thing again, like no concept of like watching your
You
thoughts
didn't
and
know what you were doing.
didn't know what I was doing, and no one told me. So I was just like floundering. So I was kind of like, yeah, but like those people are kind of cooler. I want to be more like that. So I kind of was like going a little bit in these directions, like. So I kind of fell into a bit of that pit, and like then recording the second album was like a lot from that place of like kind of trying to imitate other people a little bit, and we ended up making a kind of an album that I still think is kind of cool, but it took like way too long and like changed the sound. It just kind of didn't come from as like fun of a place, and then the interband stuff and blah blah blah, and it just like all kind of petered out in that way.
Mm. Was it kind of a slow kind of
Kind of slow,
petering down or?
like over 3 or 4 years of like kind of like being isolated, working on music, and then coming back out, and then it wasn't like as big when we came back out, and then,
Oh, sure.
yeah, and then on the next tours, like being that was when I was like being like depressed and kind of confronting like depression or the ends of something and being like, well, what the
Mm.
who am I?
Yeah,
What is
who am I
like, I
now?
don't like this reality. I remember thinking like very distinctly like this is like depression. I feel like in a nutshell, maybe it's just like I don't like this reality and I don't know what to do about it. I just don't like it and I want out of it. I don't like it. That's it. You're just like up against the
Mm.
wall and you don't know how to deal with it. You just that's all you have. It's like your thoughts and the reality and you don't like it and you're just like in a claustrophobic box and you just like I don't know what to do with that.
Well, I think the part you said there too is not knowing what to do and feeling like
Yeah.
kind of, I don't know, at the mercy of
Yeah.
whatever's going around you, or just like at the
Yeah.
mercy of your own feelings and
Yeah.
kind of flare ups or whatever's going on,
Yeah.
and just feel like
Totally.
I don't know what
Yeah.
what I can do to make this better.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally. You just don't. And when you're in that zone, and then nothing that I ever did that was like good music ever came from that zone. So it's just like
Yeah.
spiral, spiral,
Oh,
spiral.
and it kind of feeds on itself in that sense.
Yeah. So not great. That time it wasn't good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
So then after that, kind of moving forward, what happens next as the band starts winding down and?
Like yeah, basically it was like to kind of deteriorating, still sort of trying to record music. But then that's when I like finally did, like luckily just randomly some act of like grace found some I found a book that was like in the zone of it was like a self development slash it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It is what it's called, and
Okay.
it's sort of like a metaphysical or no like a universal interpretation of like Bible stories sort of from like a very like universal like just like self help perspective. And but for some reason, it just made so much sense to me. I was like,
Mm.
what? I was like, it just explained like everything in like one paragraph, at least for like, I was like, and then that really did like change my life when I read that. It was just like my whole life, just like basically without knowing it, just like turned 80 degrees and just started going the other way, another way, you know?
Yeah, and then like what happens then? Did you start like kind of eating up more different spiritual literature? Like how did your outside life kind of start changing as
Yeah.
you got a little more involved in like
Yeah.
spirituality, or your kind of paradigms shifting?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, I mean that was just like, you once you kind of get that first piece, then you just follow all the breadcrumbs and they start opening
Mm.
up, and then also with the help of like algorithms, the breadcrumbs just keep coming. And so I was just like, yeah, eating all that stuff up and really liking it, and it just made so much sense. I mean, while I was still like, it's like the ego kind of dies hard. I mean, it's still it's meaning like, your old patterns and ways of like seeking validation and
Yeah,
are
those
going.
habits are still kind of in
Yeah.
motion,
So I
right?
was still like kind of recording music. Well, at one point I started another band and moved to LA. When I was like deep into spirituality, I moved to LA, started another band, and we're just like went all out with that too. And then that kind of fell apart in a number of ways. That was just like, but when I was out there that time, that's when I started like going to I took this life coach school. It was like an intense year-long program, and like just more and more into that. So as that band was falling apart, I was almost more just like I didn't care as much. I didn't have my identity so sold into having things to go my way anymore. And then, yeah.
Well, what spurred you to take the life coaching? Because that's where you are now, where you're doing life
Yeah.
coaching with people
Yeah.
now. And at what time was this when you started the life coaching
Like what
training?
year?
Yeah.
Like 2018, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, yeah, that was just like, because I was like, because like, when like I was already starting to just talk to people, friends, acquaintances, whatever, just like more on that level, on those like deeper levels of life, and just connecting with more people. And that was like, that was fulfilling. It was like, that
Mm.
felt like playing shows in the sense of not like, meaning that like as fulfilling. It was like, oh,
Yes.
this is
Yes.
this is
Fed
fire.
you.
This is life. Yeah, exactly. Whereas like, and that was part of what was so depressing about losing music. Like I never had understood how to make money in a way that wasn't gonna just like destroy me, because I could, I worked jobs and stuff, but like I didn't like them, because I didn't feel anything for them, which is like, understand, whatever. I mean, now I almost feel like I could do anything. I don't care. I could work any job. But anyway, but when I was talking to people, I was like, it's like, that's, you have those conversations, and we were just kind of talking about this before, and just like, that's it. That's like life at its peak. It's like connecting with somebody in a real way, where you're like, so that's like what I was like. I thought maybe I wanted to be a therapist, but then I kind of found life coaching, and I thought like, oh, I can keep doing music because I don't have to go crazy taking school
Yeah, I
classes.
want to have to do like years of kind of schooling
Exactly.
or
I wasn't quite ready for that, but then I did take life coaching, and now and then I work as a life coach, like some private and then some at a company that like I see their clients, um, and then but through that now I'm in school to be a therapist, just because I just want to keep going with it. I like it.
What was the life coaching program like as you were going through it? Like what was it like? Whoa, this is
Yeah,
new
that's a good.
ways of thinking of things, or what, you
Yeah,
know?
it was new ways of thinking of things. If any, it was really new ways of learning how to interact with people, because I had
Oh,
already kind of
sure.
had my thinking and the spirituality stuff are all the was definitely kind of happening, and those orientations. But putting it into practice was a little different. Like being grounded with another person, learning to listen, like really what listening is like,
Mm,
is a new thing. So it's a lot about like continuing to break out of the shell, because at first, like life coaching schools, at least the one I did, it was a really good school, really well done, really just like so thoughtful. And so, but you're interacting with people in groups, and so stuff happen, you have to get, kind of re-socialize your brain and get ready to, what I mean, interact with people that you don't know in new ways. And so that was like just a further breaking of the shell, and like further embodying like, the direction I was going, I would say.
mm. And so as you did life coaching and stuff, did you start did you start doing sessions with other people after you graduated? And
Yeah. So you had to do sessions while you went through the class? Like you had
oh,
to
okay,
do it? Yeah.
that
You
sounds
needed
smart.
you needed like 100 hours or something of like paid sessions to get out. So like with friends, and like I said, I was like already in the zone, so it wasn't like, it wasn't like to my friends or acquaintances of friends, it wasn't like so hard to like to be, because I wasn't like also charging a lot. I was like through the pro. I think I was charging like between $5 to like $40, just to because I was like, oh, I'm in school, like I'm just learning, blah blah. But so I started coaching, like doing that, and just like I said, loving it. Just like wow, this is amazing.
What do you like about coaching with people? Is it like really connecting with people? What do you enjoy about it?
Yeah, yeah, good question. It's a fuck. It's oh, I don't want to curse, or I don't know. I'm sorry.
Nah, whatever.
But no, it's like it's basically like it's just so surprising and so like you have to live, be, and breathe the reality of like of whatever of like your highest spiritual truth, whatever that is. Like for me, it has to be with like presence, not being like a person who needs things, that is worried, is fear. It's just like complete presence, vulnerability, openness, listening, um, on every level. Like it's not like and I'm it's not like because sometimes that sounds crazy. It just means sometimes you're very normal, whatever. It's just like
Mm,
it's a dynamic, surprising process, and it has nothing to do with your ego is not, or like it's just like a really good, mm, just like putting your mouth with your money where your mouth is kind of thing. It's like you'll never it'll never be done. Like I'll be 80 being surprised, and like it doesn't work. Like you never get to like own it. You never get to be dead and go through the motions. Um,
yeah, because people keep
yeah,
new people and different things and connecting with different people and learning from them
yeah,
and
exactly.
exploring different stuff. I've kind of felt that way with the readings I've done. I guess one thing I really like about it too is that it's like a space, and I think this pertains to life coaching too, where like people are coming to me and like they're there because they want help with their life and like want to talk about things,
Yeah,
right? And like
right.
want, to one degree or another, like work on
Yeah,
things or are looking for guidance or like I'm really struggling with X, right? And it's like in a kind of our day-to-day lives, we don't really get that experience like
yeah, totally.
organically with people, especially people that we don't really know, right? Like
Right,
that just doesn't
right.
really happen. So it's like
Yeah,
such a kind of beautiful and special
yeah,
space to like dig
yeah.
into that stuff and explore it with other people.
Yeah, no, you said it. It really is. And I feel like it is. It's like an honor. It's like people think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is.
totally.
Yeah, and it is awesome too. When, of course, when you're like you feel like someone is, you're helping people. Yeah, just make changes and do things that they want in life and stuff.
What's life coach like? Let's just go kind of to the present now. Like
Yeah,
what's it like for you now? You're living in New York right
yeah.
now, and kind of what's your life coaching looking like now, and just life.
Yeah, I mean now it's like I probably had do like 20 sessions a week. Oh, that's what I was doing before I got into school, and so I like most of the clients I see. I work for a company that they partner with like all these big companies that we would all know from, um, whatever, from the states, I guess. But I mean it's a state-based, American-based company. But so they partner with like whatever, like Domino's Pizza, Facebook, blah blah blah, etc. And then those clients who want mental health benefits, um, go to the company that I work for, and then they either go and see a therapist or a life coach. And so if someone wants to see a life coach, then I'm one of the coaches at the company. So it's cool because you see just like a whole range of just diverse
Oh, that
clients.
sounds really
Huh?
cool. And is it and so it's across the country then too?
Yeah, it's across the country. Yeah, so I see people from anywhere in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, so do that, and like I said, it's like yeah, just you never know what you're going to be talking about or what's going to be
Oh
happening.
yeah, the variety.
Yeah, total variety, and it's really awesome. But then so like now I'm also in school, like kind of learning, about, because in the life coaching class you don't learn about like, mental, like, what would you say, like more chronic stuff, like chronic mental illnesses, like the heavy stuff, suicide, all that. You don't cover that in life coaching because it's just not the purview of life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like learning about that stuff, which I like, because as working for Lyra, there's always, that's the company, you always have to watch this line. Like if somebody becomes too intense in their difficulties, like if they're really having really struggling and it's really affecting their lives in different ways, then I have to refer them into therapy or consult about it a lot. So I kind of felt like I just didn't want to have that line anymore. I'm like, well, can I be seeing this person? This problem. Like I didn't want to be like having to have any extra noise in my head.
Or like kind of limits of what you can do with people or where you can go.
Exactly. So that's what like led me further on the path. I was like, again, wanted to go to school to just keep it going. I didn't see that coming like a year and a half ago. No way. But it just it just keeps like snowballing.
Yeah. I guess I got kind of like a different question for you now, or kind of looking back at kind of across your life. I don't know, this is kind of random, but like, do you from Ben now, do you experience like fear in a different way than you did like 10 or 15 years ago? Or like, because you're talking about like a lot of social anxiety and stuff, right? Like at the end of high school, even while you're kind of going through your 20s and stuff, like how's that evolved and changed for you now?
Yeah, that's a cool question. For me, it's basically like the basics shift, I guess, that I got was just like, it's like you're like, fear is not, or fear, like you're not stuck with how you are. You're not stuck tiptoeing around every obstacle your emotional life or brain life is telling you, like, oh, I'm scared of people, can't go there, or like, oh, you're just like, you can push into all these walls and push into all these phantoms. I mean, so that's how I experience it more now. It's like fear doesn't mean anything.
Like, oh, back away.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, it doesn't mean, it's not like a limit, because I mean, that's how I experience. I mean, like sometimes it'd be nice if it was literally, if the physical responses were unplugged more. So I you know what I mean. Sometimes I think like, as far as like my take on like enlightenment is like, essentially, and enlightenment starts now and it never changes. Meaning like, okay, if you want to just like let go of resistance, that's enlightenment. Then the way that would seep into your physiology and your life would probably just change it over time to the point where you would be just more physically changed. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying?
Like, as in not feel like the kind of physical response of like emotions as poignantly.
Yeah, exactly.
Pronounced.
Maybe, yeah, like that's like, maybe like you wouldn't feel like, say you're in a group and someone's like, what do you have to say about this? You'll feel like a little heart like speed up or something like that. So like, what I'm saying is like, it might be cool like to not feel that as much, maybe, but even so, like you're saying, like I actually don't even care. Like, okay, heartbeat, like I just don't care. Like that's kind
that's kind of experience I feel like I've come towards more of like being able to, I don't know, like accept or kind of just roll with more uncomfortable situations and like feelings, and being able to like think of like some stuff that's going on in my life now that like 2 or 3 years ago I would have been like major like depressed about, or like totally like would have just drove me into the dirt. And now I'm like, like it's a little uncomfortable, but you know what, I'm actually like way bigger than this, and actually like I can handle it, or like I can like move through it, and I don't know. That's kind of like what you're talking about with the walls, not having to like tiptoe around as much, as being able to just like open up and kind of walk around more freely and roam.
Yes, it's amazing. Yeah, because you can like tiptoe around those walls for just like 30-40 years, and then you'll just be like, what?
Exhausting.
What's I doing? Yeah, it's more tiring a lot of times to not go through those walls. Because there's a lot of energy too as you do go through those walls. It's like, whoa, it's like, the energy kind of gets let free when you do that. Otherwise you're just You know what I mean? It's like that's like kind of what like cynicism is. Like when people are cynical or stuff, it's like you're just tired of trying to go through walls. You just don't want
Mhm.
to try and do that anymore, or feel the letdown of when it
Yeah, and
doesn't
kind of
go the
like a
way you
giving
want.
up kind of,
Yeah, yeah. So it's like,
or maybe
yeah,
feeling like a hopelessness too.
yeah, yeah. So it's like an understandable thing, but I feel like it's like you just get, yeah,
I want to ask you too about like with your life coaching too. So you're interested in all this spiritual stuff, right? And kind of these principles and stuff. Is that something that you're like allowed to incorporate with your clients and like talk about, or do you kind of meet them where they're at? Or with the
yeah,
spiritual component, how does that come into play when you're working with clients? Do you
yeah.
talk about that kind of stuff with them?
That's a good question. I mean, like, not on average, not no, not
Yeah.
really. Sometimes there'll be aspects of like mindfulness that we'll talk about. That's like one like just like a principle that can be helpful for people in certain ways. And sometimes somebody will ask and like be curious, and I might say some. But as of now, like I don't, and I mean, it's just not like I can't explain it. I mean, I think it's just not set up that way right now. Like people it's not really how I've been trained, and it's
Mm.
also not. It's just not where I'm at. I could imagine someday talking about that, and but right now I don't really talk about it. But it's really interesting because like I do see it's like I talked to like a non-dual teacher who's like on YouTube and has like like a bit of a following or and stuff like that. And I talked to him, and it's awesome, but it's different than life coaching. Like there's like because it's like it's based on like it's based on the person. Like I'm not and the other thing it's sort of like you're taking the wisdom from the person, but life coaching is like a real like it's a connection based that's a surprise, and it's like a collaboration, and it's based on the other person is driving it, and
Okay.
so
Yep.
it's very rich, and it's very there's a lot more like love, I'd say, in a weird way, exchanged on
Mm.
average, regardless of anything is talked about in terms of spirituality. It's a lot more just like it's just like it has a pretty cool effect. I like.
Like just like connecting kind of deeply with other people is like transformative.
Yeah, creating this special space, and people are seen as the
Mm.
and understood and heard, and also like kind of get in touch with their powers in a way, which is like is cool, um
Hmm. I think we'll go a little bit longer here. There's a couple more things I want to ask. Like when you're
yeah,
working with clients, do you ever like see kind of some like transformative moments where like clients like I don't know what maybe they got like a drinking problem or something, and then you work with them and they like overcome it or stuff like that, where it's like wow, like look at the big changes you see, or maybe I don't
yeah,
know,
yeah, you do,
like
yeah, you see a lot of changes. Like, I mean, it's different with everybody, but sometimes it can be sometimes it can be pretty dramatic, especially like with some long-term clients. Like if you go back
mm,
like a year, now it's like it just kind of sets something, and it just sets people on a certain track of like kind of if you keep checking in with these kinds of conversations and these things with people. I've had it too, like in my for myself. So it can be pretty, yeah, it can be pretty transformative
mm.
for sure, and that's yeah, it's pretty awesome to see.
Do you find it kind of transformative and like healing for yourself, like as you're talking with people too? Like do you recognize a lot of stuff that people have where you're like, oh, that's like so me in a way too?
Yeah, yeah, no, it is definitely transformative and healing for myself, because it's like I feel like it's just not it's good for all of us to be able to like it's what we don't do in most of our relationships, like listen to a person and like set them free from your ideas about them. We don't do
Mm,
that to people we know, because we get we're so used to them, and we're used to what they do, and oh, we know, I know you made that face, I know what you're thinking, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
it's not true, in the sense that even with people we know, if you let go of it, they want to let go of it too, oftentimes, if you really do. Anyway, but so like it is healing just to be with people in that place where you're not you don't know what they're up to, you're listening for like you just are there with them and want to hear what they're saying, you know what I mean? So that's it's just like it's more in line with the truth. You know what I mean? It's more in
Mm,
line with the truth. And I think in general, when we line up with like the truth, like freedom, like not knowing everything and being like, there's an energy. So it is definitely good for um, myself too in that way. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I want to ask you too,
Yeah.
because you're into music, life coaching, but now that you've done your spiritual stuff, you still are creating music now, some of your own stuff.
Yeah.
Like what's it like making music now?
Yeah. I mean, it's more fun. I'm also like learning more about music, so it's like a little that makes it fun too. But it's I mean it's also like I don't care as much. Like I put out a record I think last summer, my first book on my own, and it's not like didn't like do well. I just like I genuinely don't care. Like I didn't lose don't lose sleep over it. So that's fun, because like I have another thing that I am doing that I love. So that's also really fun to take that out of it to a degree. Um, yeah, it's like so that's really fun. And yeah, and over the past semester I was working so much at like writing papers and stuff, which was insane. And so I didn't spend very much time doing music, but I did spend like very focused amounts of time little like learning and writing. So I almost have like a whole other album that I have to like sing it and like finalize it and mix it, but I'll probably get it done at some point. But it's fun. I'm enjoying doing it now. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And it's because what you said to me is it just sounds like it's just more fun for you now, and it's like not like feeling like grinding the music out. You're
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
more enjoying it in general and having fun and not being as attached with like how the end product produces. That's
Yeah, totally. And also having some fun, like there's like a saying like something about like if you want to chop down a tree, you should like sharpen the axe for like a while first, and then it will actually happen. So it kind of a little bit like that. Like I used to like spend so
working
much time like
smarter.
working smarter. Like I used to spend so much time like trying to get lucky with music and chords and stuff, and now I'm like I'm just learning about chords, and so now I'm like that's why that song is so good because there's like if you like bands that I love and a lot of them, some are very simple, but some of them they're doing stuff with the music that's you can see why that has like an elevation because of the chords. So I'm learning about theory, like the math behind it too, that I never knew, and that's fun. Like ooh, like I can do this stuff now, and I'm like oh, that creates a mood. I didn't know how to do that before. So that's fun.
Cool. So you're just learning even more stuff about it as you're going.
Yeah, yeah, learning more stuff that I didn't know before. So it's cool. That makes it fun.
I want to, because you got a Facebook group, Finders and Seekers, where you kind of post stuff, and there, we have group calls every once in a while too that are fun to
Yeah.
join. Share a little bit about that with all of us. That would be
Yeah,
great.
about the finders and seekers thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that was something just like a sort of like a impulse, just wanting to kind of
I'm gonna
connect
put
with.
the link in the chat to keep
Oh,
going.
nice, nice. Yeah, that's like I mean that's a chance to talk more explicitly about like spirituality and sort of how I see it and synthesize it and what I just my orientation to it and speak more overtly about that. Um, because I like enjoy doing that and then sort of connect on that level with people and that's really what that's about, sort of like an outlet for that, um, and also just an outlet for like doing stuff like staying on the edge, staying nervous, because like I'm not I don't have like a background in being like a group leader or anything like that, but
Yeah, and like in the group every couple weeks, you do kind of a group call where people from the group and we come together and just kind of chit chat. And it's just fun talking to
yeah,
people about
yeah,
real stuff, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just kind of like this where we're just
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, it's
very
so funny.
raw.
Like, it's very raw. Yeah, it's like it's funny because like part of me, like, I do watch so many spiritual teachers and stuff, and I've like whatever, and there's part of me that like would want to be that, like in some level. But like that's the funny thing is like I don't know what the future holds in general. I just really don't. But like there's just something about I can't like you can't deny the way things want to happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
I felt that way with readings.
Yeah, you
Like,
just like, okay, like let's go. It's not about this,
yeah,
like image I have about who I want to be. It's not. It's like you got to. So anyway, the groups definitely have that vibe for me. It's just like like okay,
kind of
let's
something
go.
that like wants to flow through you, so you're kind of going with it.
Yeah, and so it kind of right now it just feels yeah, it's just like more just like human connecting. We're just like like yeah, just this yeah, and it's just natural and just kind of fun like that. Um, yeah, so that's like what that's about the group things.
I love in there too. So you make these little picture or little artworks with the dog.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, I think those things they are awesome.
Oh,
The
thanks, man.
thing I posted in the chat there has it where you make these little artworks with
Yeah,
the same dog character over and over, and they're kind of got little spiritual principles to them.
yeah.
I think that stuff's awesome.
Nice, thanks, man. Yeah, yeah. I haven't drawn him in like 3 months because I've just
Has
like
he got a name?
Denver.
Bert. Oh, it's Denver. Okay, whatever. I don't know anything.
Yeah. But yeah, I gotta build up yeah, do some more demos. I like that. I like drawing him. Yeah.
All right, final question for you before we
Yeah.
close here. Like, well, maybe two final questions. I don't know. Like,
Sure.
what one? Like, what? Where do you kind of see yourself going forward? I know you talked about kind of just like allowing kind of stuff flowing, kind of
Yeah.
flowing through what wants to come through. But if you kind of have a vibe for where you kind of envision that going, and then two, just like any kind of closing notes you want to share with all of us.
Yeah. I mean, going forward, yeah, I don't know. Like, I definitely see myself like getting this degree, and then I kind of, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like making more music, like maybe being a semi-public-ish just figure with because like back combining mental health, spirituality in certain ways, and by public
Mm-hmm.
I mean just like continuing to share in the public, and I don't know to what extent that would happen. And making music, it is weird because sometimes music and like spiritual and life coaching does feel very different. Like making music and art sometimes it's kind of like insane. Meaning like when I make music or write lyrics, just like I just lose my mind. I go nuts. I'm not trying to help. I'm not trying to not help. I'm not. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm not doing what I don't know. Like I'm just not in the
Oh
paradigm.
my god, I love it.
Yeah, so I'm just like having fun. It's just a more free, and that's where things come from, and it kind of comes out of my life or whatever the hell's happening. So anyway, I just lose my mind and stuff like that when
I
I make
love it.
music. So like sometimes it's like it doesn't really make sense, and I know the world for sometimes like I don't feel like a very savvy person. Sometimes I'm just like kind of a mess. Like I'm a mess of output. Like even like Denver is like kind of like this like got like a Mr. Rogers, kind of like almost kid life coaching kind of cute vibe. It's like, okay, I don't, great. I like it. But then sometimes the music can be a little more like feel a little more racy or intense or something else. And it's like, I don't see those going together, but I'm just not stressing it. So like, I don't really know what the future is, but it's definitely, I don't know, just keep going, keep tapping in, keep listening, keep letting go of the fears. Not let the fears and negative, not let my ideas, really even positive or negative, do it. Just like keep throwing it away, just keep going, you know?
Like, yeah, I love
Yeah,
it, man.
yeah,
I love how you describe that creative process too of just being kind of like messy and wild, and
yeah,
that sounds
yeah,
like it sounds raw and real.
yeah. It's just nice. Like yesterday, I had such a long day, and then just for like, like
Oh,
I was like in classes and coaching and had to write all this stuff. And then just for like, I have a track that I'm working on. So I just like lie on my floor, my back's kind of hurting, and just like sing, just lose my mind, just like kind of like stretching, singing, screaming, going nuts. Fun words come out. It just
just
feels
letting
right.
go.
Just let go. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it, man. Well,
So,
cool.
yeah. Um, yeah, man, this has been really fun. I appreciate.
Yeah, any
Go
just
ahead.
ending note?
Ending note. Um, I don't ending note. I mean, I would say I don't know. I mean, I just like just from a spiritual perspective, like of life. I don't know. I just feel like it's an interesting time because there's so much out there to learn,
Mhm.
and you can hear so much so fast, and basically in a way, like it's like it's kind of crazy. It's like the cat's out of the bag. Like in ancient times or older times, you would have to like apprentice under like a Zen master for probably a long time to get to the inner circle, where they would probably tell you like, dude, like it's stop. It's
It
so
would be
it's
like a
okay.
much slower journey, I'd
Yeah,
imagine.
you'd have to like do all this stuff to, and then on the inside they'd be like, "This is it. Like you're never gonna get it. You're never gonna feel bliss all the time. You're never gonna feel good all the time. You're never gonna feel bad all the time. You are done. It's perfect. Bye." Like I'm just saying, there's like inner and this kind of generalized like wisdom is more just out there. It's like out of the bag, meaning like
Yeah,
and it's you kind of can't put it back,
in all
and
different kind of forms too,
in
and
all different kind of forms. Yeah. So I don't know. That's just like I don't know. It's just like I don't know. I just feel like yeah, spirituality or like in all self development, all this stuff. It's all here, and it's like I don't know. It's just like about. I think to me, it's just about like our own inner authority. It's like no one's gonna do it. It's our world, our reality, dealing with our own thoughts and our own being like loving, forgiving, letting go of our own thoughts and our own issues, like whatever the hell they are, and then also like I don't know, connecting with people and knowing you're never gonna. There's no status to be won. There's no status to be lost. It's done. It's done. You will never. We will never be better than each other or worse than each other.
yeah,
Even if you literally become Buddha, like tonight, you're not that you get it by realizing you never get it. You know what I mean?
yeah, letting go of like the kind of self-inflated status or like the
Yeah,
identity of needing to kind of like be seen in a certain light, or it
yeah,
sounds really free, I guess, to like
yeah.
the degree that I've done that.
Totally.
It
It's like
is
yeah,
freeing of just like because you
yeah.
just can just be you,
Exactly.
and
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
you just become
Yeah.
more yourself, and it's like
Exactly.
it feels real, like I've noticed like it feels really damn good to be me, like
Yeah.
amazing to be me, like I fucking like when I'm really being me,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
not like all like
Yes.
scared and the
Yes.
walls and stuff. It just
Yeah.
feels great, and I wouldn't want to
Yeah.
be anyone else.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love that. That's it. It's like hilarious. It's like a joke. It's like
Yeah,
it's just me. I just had to. Oh, okay. Just don't stop hating ourselves. Stop hating. We just hate ourselves so much in a way. It's not even. There's just so much energy. Whatever. I feel like I've said too much, but yes, just you.
I love it, man. I love it. I really enjoyed talking with you, Ben. This was like
Yeah, me too.
ton amount of fun.
Yeah.
Where can people find your music or reach
Uh,
you or learn more about you if they're interested?
on if you look up like Ben Wyeth on Spotify or in Google search, I think Ben Wyeth will come up. Yeah, I have an Instagram thing where I do a little talk each morning.
I
Um,
didn't even know you did that.
yeah, yeah. It's like a between like it's about a minute or 2 minutes.
Oh, cool, cool.
Yeah, and then I guess Facebook group and stuff like that.
Mhm. So search Ben Wyeth and you can learn more
Yeah,
about Ben. But
yeah.
awesome, man. Thanks for coming on with me. This is actually the first interview like this I've done
Oh, awesome.
with someone. So I freaking loved it, dude.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm
You did
looking forward, man,
great.
to just see just what you continue to do with yourself and your life, and like to keep just getting to know you. And I
Yeah,
love it,
man.
man.
Yeah, thanks so much. This was awesome. Maybe we'll do it. Yeah, a check-in,
We'll see. We'll
annual
see what
check-in.
kind of comes through, right?
See what happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, much love, Graham. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.